Welcome to Synoptix Summit 2020. My name is Dan Wheatbrook, and I'm the product manager here at Synoptix. And today I will review with you our Synoptix roadmap, talking a little bit about what we're currently developing and what we will be working on this coming year. Our vision is delivering the highest value in the market with Synoptix auto-generating client insights in real time. We'll continue to replace human effort wherever possible with automated AI-enabled software to enable users to spend more time analyzing and less time generating information. We will accomplish this by connecting to data, whether that is on-premise or in the cloud, making information available to you where you are at work or at play. So what are we doing to make this vision a reality? In the next 6 months, we are working on transitioning Synoptix from a desktop application to a browser-based application. We've been working on this for some time now and are working to finish this transition in the next 6 months. Next area is budgeting. We recognize that business has changed dramatically for many people this year, and we want to help companies prosper in these times by providing a budgeting tool that can move at the speed of change. And then the third area is in connecting to cloud ERP data. As we've had more of our clients move from locally hosted ERP systems to cloud-based ERP, we have felt the need to move Synoptix as well. In the next year, we hope to have a multi-tenant CompuSoft database and multi-tenant so that we can host Synoptix in the cloud for our clients who have moved to the cloud and for those customers who have cloud ERPs. And then our other big push is artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is not an end in and of itself, but it's a great tool set that allows us to use Synoptix to sift through very large amounts of data to find things not evident on the surface. And we'll talk more about each of these in detail. First up is browser-based Synoptix. Why exactly are we transitioning our desktop application to the browser? And while we feel there are lots of benefits and good reasons to do this, well, the primary benefit for you is lower total cost of ownership. We have two separate deployment options that allow us to achieve these lower costs. One is in your local environment on your local server, meaning inside your network. And the other option is on a SaaS server in the cloud. It may be easiest to think of these in terms of where your ERP data is stored. If your ERP database is on site within your local network and you're running your ERP system on a local application server, then we're going to do the install of Synoptix on your local server, meaning inside your network. And if your data is stored and your ERP that you're using is in the cloud and you're accessing it through a browser, then we're going to steer you towards the SaaS server and deployment model so that we have easier access to your data. So let me just review those configurations for just a minute. This is not for the most tech savvy people out there, but basically all of this is inside your local network. So we'll have your ERP database, your CompuSoft database, and your Synoptix install. It will be hosted locally inside your network. And with each of the workstations for each of your users, just using a URL and a browser to access Synoptix as it's installed locally. This provides some nice benefits. One of which is there's just one install of Synoptix for IT to maintain. There's no install on each workstation. Two, resources can be allocated and maintained by IT. If for whatever reason you feel like you need more resources, you can just call up your local IT group people and they can help you with that. Another one is one install provides more security and saves on duplication of resources. Another one of the benefits is IT just provides a URL along with login credentials for end users. So there's nothing to install and maintain on the local machines. And then one operating system. Synoptix is installed in one operating system, which makes it easier and less costly to support. The next is the SaaS model, and as you can see, the graphic is nearly identical because the software is identical and will be the same between the two. But the SaaS model is the only difference here is where things are located and how many different people are accessing the model. So in our SaaS model, we'll have ERP databases and things will be in the cloud. So Synoptix will be installed in the cloud. The CompuSoft database will be in the cloud on a SaaS server. And multiple customers will access the SaaS server with the one install. So there are some real nice benefits associated with that. The biggest one is going to be that your local IT doesn't need to do anything except for we'll be providing you with the URL along with login credentials to the end users. So IT might need to help set up users depending on how that's handled. But that's pretty much it. There's not a lot to do here. One install of Synoptix gets updated and maintained by us here at CompuSoft. Our resources are allocated and maintained by Synoptix. Cloud uptime is also very reliable. With Microsoft Azure guarantees a 99.95%. Just to put that into perspective, that's about 4 hours of downtime in a year of time. Being in the cloud allows us to utilize the security measures of the host. In this case, we've chosen Microsoft Azure as well as our own security measures. So there's an extra layer of security around Synoptix. It also saves resources. It can be viewed on anything from a Chromebook to a laptop computer and used just about anywhere. You can access the web. You will be able to access your install of Synoptix out in the cloud. Synoptix also does all the maintenance, all the updates to the software, as we mentioned earlier. That's not a cost that will be incurred. It's one less thing for your local IT group to worry about. So before I move on, just a couple of quick questions I'd like to answer at this point. One question, can you keep your current version of Synoptix? Even though we are moving from a desktop application to a browser-based application, yes, you can keep your current version of Synoptix if you like it and that's what you'd like to keep, then you'll be able to keep that. Can you continue to use your current reports? And yes, your current reports will come forward. And for those of you who already have the scheduling module, this will just be an update to a regular update, and then it will be fairly seamless for you. Will it cost more? Another great question, and that depends on which modules you have purchased in the past. This version of Synoptix does require the scheduling module. Okay, the next feature that I'd like to discuss is budgeting. And as budgeting will be covered in more detail in a later session, I'll keep my comments brief and want to speak more to what prompted us to bring about a new budgeting module. And that is because we've always worked with budgets, we can report off of budgets that are stored in your ERP system, budgets that you have in Excel and you'd like to import into Synoptix, or we can take your budgeting process and complete it in Synoptix. We can create budget templates that are used to create your budget numbers in Synoptix. And so that's all current functionality. We can do that. Where we really felt like we needed to be with budgeting, especially as this year 2020 has brought home to us, is that things are changing very, very quickly. And so we are rewriting it with the goal of allowing you to budget at the speed of change, to make our budgeting more detailed, timely, and accurate. We have enlisted the help of a budgeting expert in the field to design the software with us, with our design team. And our budgeting expert will be presenting a session a little later on budgeting, and I encourage you to stick around for that. The next topic is reporting on data in the cloud. That's the main things that we'll be working on in the next 6 months to a year are these things. And in the past, Synoptix needed to be installed in the cloud alongside the data in order to make that work. And we have several implementations that are working really well with Synoptix installed in the cloud. At the present time, we are using APIs, and those are just functions and procedures that allow us to communicate with an ERP database in the cloud. So we're using APIs to report on data for one ERP is what we've got that working for right now. In the future, it's our goal to use APIs to be able to report on data for any ERP. And so as your ERPs have new versions roll out, and those versions allow you to take advantage of the benefits of being in the cloud, your Synoptix reporting will go right alongside that. We'll be able to work on that with you and make that transition. So in the next year, and this is a really fun, exciting part, we are rolling out some artificial intelligence enabled features. Again, just a reminder that artificial intelligence, while it is great for working with large data sets and finding insights that would take hours and weeks and months for a person to prepare, it's not an end in and of itself, and we're using it as a tool set to help us move forward. So our first feature that has been AI enabled and has already been released is called AdviseX. And what AdviseX does is for each account number in your chart of accounts, we run a group of algorithms to find anomalies in your data. This is then used to flag you on reports that there may be something you want to investigate a little deeper in your numbers. The real benefit for AdviseX is if you were to try to do this yourself, you would have to look at every single account, figure out the balance in that account for multiple periods, and then compare those and make a prediction or a guess as to what the account balance might be in the future, and then compare that with what is actually in that account in that future period. So this relies upon running tens and hundreds of thousands of calculations, which is why we feel that it's a really good job for a computer to crank out all those calculations so you don't have to. AdviseX has already been released, as I said, and you can use it today. The next feature that has been developed and not yet released to everybody, but it's done being developed, is our AI-generated financial reports using spreadsheets, drag and drop. So if you have financial reports in Excel, you can now take those reports and drag and drop them onto the Synoptix designer screen, the same screen you use to create a Synoptix report. And our AI engine will take the spreadsheet and create a Synoptix report from it, complete with all the accounting cells, all the formulas, all the labels, column and row headers, everything that you've got on that report. It'll take it and create a Synoptix report out of it. And even though the average person can figure out which accounts go in which cells, it takes an AI engine to teach a machine how to figure out which accounts go in which accounting cells. So that's what we have is an AI engine behind it that takes a look at all the accounts, takes a look at all the information on the spreadsheet that you just dropped, and using that information along with any historical information that it already has from reports you may have already created in Synoptix, it will generate a new Synoptix report. I believe somebody is going to be showing that functionality in the software a little later on because, it is functionality that already exists inside our software. So I won't be showing that today, but the more reports you do, the more intelligence Synoptix gets with predicting which accounts go in which accounting cells on those reports. So it takes a lot of the work out of building a report and allows you just to do what's important, and that is verify that the information you're getting is correct. The next couple of features are features that we are working on or plan to work on in the future. So storytelling is creating English sentence insights into the data behind your reports. So when you run a report, you will find there's a way to access the storytelling portion of it, and it will be a separate sheet or separate tab that has all of the English sentences that talk about the report in your data. This is one of the features that's still under development today. But the idea is to tell you the story, and then if you need to or want to investigate that further, then the story's there for you to see. Another one of the features that has not been begun yet, but we plan on working on in the next year, is calendaring and report recommendations. So using the vast amount of data and information and timing of when people run their reports, we'll be able to recommend that you run certain reports at certain times of year, or review the different types of reports that you have, and make recommendations for other reporting that might be able to aid you in your business. Again, these features are available to us because of the artificial intelligence tool set that we work with, that has the ability to search vast amounts of data and find conclusions and things that are not always readily available to the naked eye. So those are the feature sets. Just by way of review, during the next 6 months and through next year, we will finish transitioning Synoptix from a desktop application to a browser-based application, including connecting to cloud ERP data. We will roll out a much improved budgeting module that will allow you to budget very quickly and very, very accurately as we dive into the details to make sure that you can be as accurate as you need to be. And then thirdly, the AI-enabled features are the last thing we talked about. So thank you very much for your time today. Now we'd like to do a quick Q&A. I'll answer a few questions, and then we'll end.